This podcast is brought to you by Molten Balls, official ball of the UPSL.
Hey, what's up, soccer fans? Welcome back to the UPSL Podcast. I'm Ardif Dakari, and I am joined by Dennis Pope.
Hey, everybody.
And for this edition of the UPSL Podcast, we got a new game for you, which is called Would You Rather? After that, we're going to go over the second round of U.S. Open Cup qualifying. We're going to have a conversation with Matt Kalla, UPSL Texas Conference Operations Manager. And to top it off, we'll answer your questions on social media. All that on this episode of the UPSL Podcast.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. So we have a new game called UPSL Would You Rather. Pretty straightforward. I ask a question. Art tells me what he would rather do. First question. Would you rather lose 6-0 in U.S. Open qualifying or forfeit?
I gotta go with losing 6-0. I mean, the sound of that scoreline doesn't sound very good, obviously, but what it all comes down to is you go on the field, you gotta go out there and fight, you gotta do what you can, and afterwards you talk about what went wrong and what you gotta fix for the next time you play.
That's true. I'd rather play also, but forfeiting allows your guys to take that rest that they didn't, or they weren't able to take in that 6-0 beating. So maybe you save a little in the tank for league play. Maybe you're thinking a little bit ahead. I don't know what kind of penalties there are for forfeiture, but I would think in a competitive situation, a forfeiture might be better for the club than a 6-0 whopping.
Well, that's tough, but what can I say? I'm going with, just get on the field, play as hard as you can, leave it all on the field.
All right, next one.
Would you rather win State Cup or qualify for the U.S. Open Cup?
That's a really good question. The idea of winning State Cup and holding a trophy, no matter what club you are, is a good idea. Qualifying for the U.S. Open Cup is a major accomplishment for just about any amateur club. To be up there against an NPSL or a UPSL team means a lot for the quality of your organization and your players and the whole strength of your club going forward. But to win State Cup, that's something that you can hold forever.
And I think one thing you wanted to mention is, wouldn't you want to say that it'd be an honor to go up against maybe like MLS or USL teams?
Well, qualifying for the U.S. Open Cup doesn't necessarily grant you that right. You don't get to play the MLS teams until the third or fourth round. So you're still playing the Christos FCs or the Detroit City FCs in the first round, which are great clubs and would be a great honor to play against. But you don't get anything except a huge bill from losing that first round game. And winning State Cup, like I said, that's a trophy that you can put in a case somewhere that your whole club can look back on and say that they were successful in that frame of time.
And one thing with the State Cup, it really takes me back to the days, playing in a recreational soccer leagues. I just imagine how great it would be to get those orange slices at halftime.
Yeah, we've come a long way from orange slices, Art. Would you rather be a UPSL expansion team in Texas or New York? This question's asked because the UPSL just expanded to Texas with two new teams, Katy Tigres FC in Katy, Texas, and Bay Area Oilers FC in LaPorte, Texas, while also expanding recently in Utica, New York with Krasnik FC, 20-year-old men's adult team that recently decided to take a step up. So the question is, would you rather be a UPSL expansion team in Texas or New York?
Once again, another tough one. When I think about Texas, I think about the humidity and the weather that doesn't sound very exciting. But then when you think of New York, they have humidity also. They have that brutal winter. So I'm going to go with Texas. And it's a really, really big state. All kinds of divisions over there. Plenty of opportunities to, do some traveling if you win your division.
I've never been to New York, so I would think that if I had the opportunity to be on an expansion team, it would probably be in New York. You're close enough to the Big Apple to experience all that and the greater Northeast. I think that's a more exciting prospect than the humidity in Texas.
All right, good point. I'm convinced. Where would you rather see the UPSL expand to next? And this is basically an open-ended question. So do you have any places in mind, Dennis?
Where would I like to see the UPSL expand to next? Hawaii would be sweet. I don't really think that's going to happen. The greater Northwest, Portland, Seattle would be a fantastic place to start. But yeah, Hawaii. For sure, Hawaii.
In all honesty, I think I'd like to see some more UPSL teams down in the San Diego area. I mean, there is a San Diego Zest FC2, if I'm not mistaken, and I just think there needs to be a few more teams there, create more of a San Diego UPSL rivalry.
Now, you're taking this seriously. I appreciate that, Art. San Diego's a great market. They definitely need more teams down there. And Zest, they're not going to be able to carry the market alone. So, Art, I appreciate you taking it seriously.
Thank you. And when we come back, we're going to go over our rundown for the second round of U.S. Open Cup qualifying for UPSL teams. Okay, everybody, welcome back. It is now time for the rundown for the second round of U.S. Open Cup qualifying. Entering this round, there were 14 UPSL teams participating. Moving on now, there will be 6 UPSL teams. So let's get right to it. First, you had Safira FC in Massachusetts. They lost 2-0 to Massachusetts United. Next, Colorado Rush Soccer Club lost 3-2 to Azteca FC, also from Colorado.
And Colorado Rush was up without some of its players in this game due to academy commitments. And I think Rush will be back better next time.
Next, La Máquina actually defeated the Las Vegas Mobsters by forfeit.
Yeah, Mobsters wasn't able to field the team to come all the way to Orange County, and they forfeited as a result.
Next, Valley United Soccer Club lost 1-0 to Chula Vista FC.
Chula Vista is always a really good team, and they gave LA Wolves everything that they could handle in the U.S. Open Cup proper last year, so I'm not surprised that they're moving on.
Next, Fort Collins FC loses 1-0 to FC Denver. Some more action in Colorado.
Yeah, there's some really tough games happening out there in Colorado. Real tough rivalries that are developing there.
Next, what about the San Fernando Valley Scorpions losing 4-0 to the San Pedro Monsters Football Club?
Yeah, who knew that the Monsters were going to be so good? That's a tough loss for Scorpions.
Next, the Santa Ana Winds, a 6-0 win over Newcastle United FC.
Yeah, that's a big win for Winds, no doubt about it. 6-0 result is something that you can hang the rest of the tournament on.
What about Sporting AZFC winning 3-1 over Inter Empire Works FC?
That's an interesting one. That was an all-UPSL matchup. Sporting Arizona was the spring season UPSL champion. Inter Arizona, now Inter Empire Works, was the fall season 2016 UPSL champion. So it was the last two Arizona Conference champions meeting up in this game, and Sporting Arizona, a little bit stronger roster, come away with the result.
The LA Wolves got past Vanquish FC by forfeit.
Yeah, Vanquish having some operational issues at the moment, weren't ready for this game.
Aurora Borealis FC defeated 3-2 by Stegman's FC from Minnesota.
Yeah, that's a tough loss for one of the UPSL's new Midwest teams.
Doesn't end there. Next, Colorado Springs FC defeated 3-2, actually in overtime, to Harpo's FC.
Yeah, that's a really tough loss for Colorado Springs. From what I've been told, the keeper was chipped from about 30 yards out. It's just a really tough loss, a really tough way to go out of the tournament.
Next, Indios Denver FC wins 4-2 against IPS Marathon Taverna of Oregon.
Yeah, Indios Denver FC is the only Colorado team from the UPSL left in the U.S. Open Cup.
Next, the Santa Clarita Storm loses 3-1 to Buena Park FC.
Santa Clarita had some early hopes in this game. They scored an equalizer, but they just didn't have enough at the end.
And you got the California Victory with a 4-2 win over Davis Legacy.
That's a massive win for California Victory. Part of their ownership group lost their home in the recent Northern California fires. And so not only are they struggling with that, but they went down 10 men in this match, and they went down 1-0 before storming back with 4 goals from Jesus Zamudio. to win this game. It's a crazy story and a crazy game. And California Victory, they were a UPSL spring season finalist, and they're a really tough matchup for anybody they go against.
And of course, I remember being at that game where the Victory took on the Wolves. They have a lot of talent on that team, and they play with very great teamwork. And when we come back, we'll have a conversation with Matt Kalla, UPSL Texas Conference Operations Manager.
And we're here with Matt Kalla. He's the UPSL's new Texas Conference Manager. Matt, thanks for the time.
Thank you, guys.
Matt comes to the UPSL from FC Claiborne, where he was a consultant. Matt, tell our listeners about the path that has taken you to the UPSL.
Well, I did a lot of research of the UPSL before I did contact you guys. I think I got in right at the exact time you guys were looking to do the Texas Conference, which me and Jan talked about, and got really excited about what Texas could be. After being in the USL PDL, seeing the exposure definitely the UPSL could get, makes us all excited here.
What can we expect from the UPSL's Texas Conference in the first season here in the spring?
I think a lot of competition. A lot of the teams that I've talked to, a lot of the owners I've talked to have amateur teams already. And the biggest thing that they want is just some more exposure that the UPSL brings with the marketing effort that we do. And it's just the teams are excited because there's a lot of great Texas teams, and they just need they need more structure with scheduling and everything. A lot of them do a lot of friendlies all over. I think with the way we have it structured, there's going to be a lot of competition.
How many teams are out there in Texas?
Oh, wow. It's unlimited here. We have so many cities. Like even a city I was visiting today, it's called King, Texas. They have about a population of 1,500. They have amateur teams. It's endless. From the DFW area to the Houston area, San Antonio area, all these little towns all have teams. You're talking about a state that just loves soccer. It's definitely growing here.
How does Texas fit into the pro development scene overall?
I think Texas fits in because we're a big state. You're talking about a South and a North division that, it's just where we could have that many teams, where we could have up to 40 teams, where we have, the pro rel over here in the North. We have pro rel in the South. I think once we start growing, getting more teams on, you're going to start seeing how well it is a soccer state. You're just going to start seeing that it fits well in with the mold, kind of like how California's doing it and Colorado's doing it. That, we're a big state, and it helps to have those North and South divisions because since we're such a big state, nobody likes traveling from the DFW area to the Galveston area, which takes about 6 hours. So it helps out.
And what are some of the long-range goals that you have for the conference?
Just having a competitive conference. Once we get to the side of having an amateur and a premier team, I think it's just a Premier League. I think it's getting that competition in. A lot of the teams I do talk to right now, it's been up and down on who they compete with. There's no consistency. There isn't a lot of good leagues in Texas. So having that competition where they're not facing a team that went out, a couple years ago, and they're bringing it back. It's just been a lot of in and outs, and especially with the college level. College kids come and go. So I think that's what really the UPSL is going to bring to us is just some structure with the scheduling, as well as basically some competition where you get to face the same team. You get a structure. So
the UPSL's year-long calendar will have an impact.
Yes, definitely. Everyone I talk to is very excited about that. Not splitting up the soccer, not focusing only on the college players is helping out a lot of the teams I'm talking to where they can start planning for the year. Their operations are continually running, which is big. When you're having a summer league and you have that time off, you lose a lot of your fan base. You lose a lot of your talent, and you lose some staff that, they had a great marketing intern that just left. But now, with the funds you're bringing in throughout the year, you can actually keep people on, and that includes players and staff.
And finally, what's your favorite part about working for the UPSL?
I think communication overall. We definitely know what's going on with all the conferences. I was in a conference call for another division, and just hearing that, especially during the training period, is that it's very, we keep in contact. There's always an avenue to keep in contact with each other, and I feel like after being in a couple other leagues, this one has been the most structured. We know what our planning is for the future. We know what we want to do, which is big.
And that's Matt Kalla, UPSL's Texas Conference Manager. Matt, appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys.
And when we come back, we'll take your questions from social media. Do you want to advertise with the fastest growing pro development soccer league in the country? Advertise with the UPSL. You'll reach more than 70 markets in 10 different states. Go to upslsoccer.com. Follow us on Twitter at UPSL Soccer.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We did not get any feedback on social media.
Not any at all.
So we will not be answering any questions.
Where are you at, James Godermeyer?
Where are you at, Soccer Roundtable?
Where are you at, American Pyramid Blog?
For Dennis Pope, I'm Ardif Dakari. Thank you for listening to the UPSL Podcast.